Hello everyone, I'm Tom Worth Jr. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I wanted to talk about slowly then suddenly as it pertains to the collapse of regimes, as it pertains to Russia. 25 years ago, I was listening to a few things today, an Economist podcast and also a YouTube with my man Yuval Noah Harari, I think that's his name. Uh, and it got me thinking, Russia's been on my mind a lot. And 25 years ago, Boris Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned as the president of Russia. And his prime minister was former KGB operative Vladimir Putin. And he was called back from a planned family vacation to move into the president's house, palace, wherever, back to the Kremlin. 25 years ago, Russia had a constitution. There are term limits, just like there were in China. And these people, Putin and Xi Jinping, disregarded those constitutions and had eventually, fairly recently, had their governments rewrite the rules so they could serve probably for the rest of their lives. Um, they did this in different ways, but they did the same thing. And there was a time when Russia seemed to be on the right track. Gorbachev got him off on the right foot. That was the collapse of the Soviet Union. He didn't intend for that to happen when he was in charge, but he saw where things were going. He saw that they had lost to the United States, to capitalism, and thought that the free market was the best chance for the Soviet or former Soviet economy. It was Soviet at that time. That would be a better option than the central command economy of communism. So that was the collapse of communism. It was very sudden when Gorbachev let it happen. And the people of Russia were ready for it. They weren't out there making it happen, but they were ready for it. And when it came, it was with blinding speed. And the people accepted it and they embraced that change. Then when Boris Yeltsin was president, again, the people weren't going to overthrow anything. This is not the style of the Russian people after the Bolshevik Revolution, that is, 1917. But they let change happen, and Putin took control. Well, now they're in a similar situation in that more similar to what Gorbachev had with the collapse of the Soviet Union than it was with Boris Yeltsin just stepping down from the presidency. The Russian system is collapsing. The oligarchic system, the kleptocracy that Putin sits at the top of, and the Ukrainian war was a grab. It was what he always tries to do. It just like Hitler did, just like most dictators do. It's just simply to steal something from other countries. Steal the country itself, steal its resources, whatever it is. You're stealing its food, its technology, its land, its labor. You're just taking it. And this is what Putin was trying to do with Ukraine, and it has failed miserably to the tune of hundreds of thousands of lives lost, many billions of dollars, tens, hundreds of billions of dollars. It's depleted all of Putin's resources. And so when the time comes that something does happen, this is not going to be necessarily people in the streets protesting and calling for violent change in Russia. That's not how the Russians typically operate. Something will happen and the people will welcome the change, and they will not support Putin. They will not actively overthrow him, but once something happens with him, they will not rise up to protect him and the status quo. Just as the Syrian people did not rise up to protect the Assad regime. It took some rebels, and it didn't take much, But when you are that type of kleptocracy, that type of dictatorship, and something happens to you as the leader, your people are not going to rise up and support you. Um, this is the kind of change it will. It's slow, but then it will be sudden. That's how it can happen in Russia. I don't know if 2025 is the year. I hope it is. I think a lot's going to hinge on what Trump does with turning the screws on Zelensky. And with each passing week, with each passing day, there is less leverage for Putin to make Trump do what he wants to do with Ukraine. So I think Trump is reading the tea leaves here a little bit. We don't know how deep the ties with him and Putin go, whether it was simple fear of what Putin had or has on him, or whether it's a true alliance. We're not sure yet, but we will find out soon enough. We will find out sometime January 20th or later. Speaking of January, we have January 6th where the election is certified. And if the House does not quickly re-elect Mike Johnson as Speaker tomorrow, this turns into a protracted battle, then that might not happen on January 6th. January 6th is Monday. The Speaker of the House election is Friday, tomorrow, or more likely today if you're watching this today, even though I'm doing this tonight, Thursday night. They don't have time to go through multiple votes, to go through the weekend, because this has to happen on January 6th. And I was reading about the procedures in the House, and basically nothing can happen if you don't have a speaker. And as of tomorrow, they won't have a speaker. They'll have to elect a new one. Mike Johnson's the only one that has any sort of candidacy here. There is no one rising up to challenge him, and Trump has supported him, just full-throated endorsement. So all it takes is one GOP person to, or two really. One can not vote for him, but if more than one votes against him, he won't be the speaker. They'll have to go through multiple votes. If there is a delay, then the election may not be certified Monday. Now, most people think that will happen, that will be certified, that Mike Johnson will be reelected tomorrow. But there is some drama, and I think the dysfunction of the House not being able to be blamed on Democrats at all is not to the level that it was when you had McCarthy just kicked out for the first time as a speaker. And then all the people vying for control and all the multiple votes, and yeah, it was so ridiculous. So we're not where we were at that time, but the Republicans are controlling everything, and they may start off their control with not even being able to certify their own victorious candidate as the president on Monday. And we won't know until tomorrow, Friday, if they will be able to do that or not. That's what we're talking about with Republicans. And I just think that is glorious in itself, regardless of how it plays out. The fact that we're even talking about it is pretty awesome. Other thing I wanted to talk about is with the New Orleans terror attack, Trump, invoking immigrants again in this. And this was a Texan. This was an Army guy just driving from Texas to Louisiana. This was not a border issue. It's so ridiculous. And it's what Trump's knee-jerk reaction to everything is to lie about it. And you don't need to do that. You need to express sympathy for the tragedy that unfolded. And you need to provide some actual factual informational updates to the American people who are worried. And that's never been what Donald Trump has done. And it will never be what Donald Trump will do. It's not something he is capable of doing. It's not something he can ever be talked into doing. God forbid we have some sort of something like a 9/11 kind of attack on the U.S. It just that level of tragedy, of chaos, of all air traffic stopped in America when that happened, and you have Donald Trump in charge. Uh, I don't know. We haven't had that in over 20 years, and we hope and pray that we won't ever again. But for the next 4 years, that's the kind of tightrope we'll all be walking in this world. Where, and I don't know if the one in Las Vegas, also an army guy, in his Tesla truck out in front of the Trump Hotel, if that was a coordinated thing, if there was some sort of online, uh, you know, provocation of this. It seems too coincidental, but it was New Year's Day, so anything can happen on New Year's Day. Um, this is just what we're looking at now, and we have the wrong people in charge. Uh, the only person who would be capable of dealing with something like that is going to be, like a Mike Johnson. I've invoked his name before as at least rational, insane, and sane, not insane, and calm. I don't agree with what he tries to do and wants to do and his vision for America, but he is of sound mind, at least. So I give the guy credit for that. I hope he does end up winning the speakership again tomorrow. I'm almost certain he will, just to bring some sort of stability, some sort of order to the chaos that is the GOP House. I love that Matt Gaetz isn't there anymore. I love that Marjorie Taylor Greene has lost seemingly all influence that she ever had. You used to see her up at the podium every day, sometimes multiple times a day, just spouting her ridiculous nonsense. And I don't see her anymore. Jim Jordan just keep in the shadows, keep in the background, keep lurking. That's fine. I don't need to see your face on a camera or hear your voice on a microphone ever again. I'm happy if I don't. Um, by the way, his Ohio State team will be playing my Longhorns a week from tomorrow. And not feeling great about that one. Ohio State is looking like a monster, the monster that everyone thought they would be at the beginning of the season. And then they bottomed out. We've spoken about bottoming out before against Michigan, which was awesome, but they've regained their form, or really rediscovered a new form that they never had. Unfortunate timing here, but hopefully Texas can pull it out. That's a diversion there. Sorry. Anyway, keeping the streak going of the dailies, and I hope everyone is sticking with it and staying interested in things. And I hope you all have a good night, a good day, and we'll talk later. Bye.